try and keep. Okay, I do not see any hands or any comments. A moment. So maybe I'll share, maybe start with sharing my thoughts about the opportunities that are there. Or why I think it is important that we need to get more countries in the region being part of this process of making data available, and people understanding that by doing so, you also contribute to bigger causes, and also help with regards to resources. I'll give an example of Malawi. For us, I think we have places in Malawi that I would maybe say have been overstudied, because people, go there and repeatedly to do similar kind of studies, and because everybody, when they have a research idea, they're going to this place and they're going to collect this information, but then that information, because it's not easily available, and somebody else goes there. So you find that whilst we have very limited research resources, they are being spent on the same areas, the same time, just because there's no sort of build up to information. Everybody thinks they're going to carry out the same new information in places that have already been studied, however. So I felt, one of the arguments that I always have with people being able to share and not just holding on. I know people are very possessive with their data and want to hold it as their own and not want to put it where it's easily available. Is that, by doing that, we can help resolve sources. We might build and cover more areas in the country that are important to know, because instead of somebody going to repeat, they can go and collect this information somewhere else, and therefore we are building information, can start looking at issues of trends and those which currently we can't do those kind of studies in Malawi, because the information is just not there. Everybody wants to go and collect. It's as if they're going there for the first time to collect that particular data set. And so I think people understanding those kind of benefits are quite important. I don't know if there are anyone who is attending is also doing any work in the region, and if they've had any efforts in trying to ensure that the data that they collect is made publicly available.
Hello.
Hello.
Can
Yes.
you hear me? Hi.
Yes.
I'm not a bioinformatician. I'm a climate conservationist, but I worked in many countries in West Africa, and I think what you guys are doing is great by trying to do capacity building and making database available. But I think the simple fact is that many students do not even have access to stable internet. I think at the basic level, this is a huge problem. I mean, I'm not really able. I'm not able to offer a solution to this problem. But the fact is, it limits their ability to have access to great databases that may be available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely one. A big challenge, obviously, in Africa is that the issue of the access to internet to be able to make this data available.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is the universities do not offer internet like throughout the university level. So individual students are required to purchase their own devices or using phones as like hotspots to access internet. So it's a pervasive problem in many cases.
Yeah, that's true, and I think that's something that brings up we were talking. I said, seeing how we align with Agenda 2063. I know one of the key issues in that agenda is, trying to make internet more accessible in the region and more affordable as well, because like in Malawi, where maybe we have and we maybe can have access, but it's the same thing that maybe the university one is not very reliable, and people want the reliable internet is the one that the mobile providers are providing, and it's very, very expensive, and not affordable for students to just to use adequately. Yes, Lars, I see your hand.
Yes, I just wanted to comment that I'm from Sweden, and we are just now starting a project with conservation biology of the osprey in Sweden, and yeah, I have a friend who's working with GBIF, Anders Telenius in Stockholm, and we are now trying to get data from osprey from the 50s, 1950s and 60s and onwards. And it will be a project that will run for several years because we want to get in contact with the people that have gathered those data for many years. And so we are discussing now how can we get hold of those data, and it's not an easy task. And the first thing we think about now is to invite ornithologists that are maybe in the 70s and 75 years old, 80 years old, that are still going out and observing. So lots of these data are gathered by ornithology, but still we think that they are very important data, as now in some areas the osprey is decreasing a lot, and it could be because of we have helped the white-tailed eagle to increase because of all the poisons that was affected peregrine falcon, white-tailed eagle, ospreys in all over Western Europe and also North America. So my comment is that this to share data can be one has to think really long term. But what I was thinking is because I was not in this section from the beginning, are there like GBIF meetings in Africa that try to gather people to be aware of this, or how is it actually working? Can you comment on that?
Yes, so I think Blessings also presented in her presentation. So GBIF has had a few programs specifically targeting region and trying to make some data available. So there's been the CESP, it's called a CESP program, but there was also one is Biodiversity Information for Development, BID, that was there. So these were the programs included small grants where people are trained and taught about that biodiversity data, how it is shared and how you can share it, why it's important, and encouraged to then publish some data. So that's the efforts. I think those of us that are here were some of the beneficiaries of those efforts by GBIF to try and get this data available. So but it's still, a few places. a few people that are currently know, there's still a lot that don't know and are not part of the particular program. So the master's programs that are there are another way of trying to bring people to publish data. I think the Benin one in covering the Francophone region, and then the new one at in Malawi, which we have just established at MAST, to try also and pick some of the people from the Anglophone countries. I can say on that. Just to also quickly, since you mentioned Osprey, for Malawi, one of the data sets we're trying to see if we can mobilize is a newsletter that ran for many years. It was called Vocifer, and it was where a lot of birders, the naturalists, and they recorded their sightings. So there's a lot of information in those, and there's a lot of them out there. And when you mentioned about ospreys, and I said, oh, maybe there would be some records in those sort of newsletters for osprey. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, it would be really super interesting for us because some of the questions that we now asked is that if the white-tailed eagle is because it's a larger bird, it's like can weigh up to 4 kilos, while the osprey weigh about 1 kilo. So they are much bigger and stronger and can outcompete. So one of the things that we wonder now, where do these osprey go? The ones that we see that the number is declining, and we don't know if they, if more stay in Africa or whatever. So yeah, would be really interesting to see this information that you mentioned.
Yeah. Please, if you can put your contacts. I also encourage everyone, if you can put your contacts in the chat, then and also just share the information. Blessings here, it works for the organization that holds those newsletters, so it should be a good contact to see how best to do that, because I think we put there also these are some of the opportunities for collaborations, or sometimes being able to mobilize data is when you know there's somebody looking for a particular type, because then at least you have somewhere to start than just trying to target everything. But slowly, like if it was ospreys, someone could go look into these publications for something like that, and that's a starting point for trying to get some of this information that's in the gray literature. I don't know, Blessings, if you have any comments.
Yeah, I want to comment on GPF. It was better for them to. Okay, I was just thinking that they, since they have offered some online courses to us, some of us. So I suppose they can also do the same if they requested, if there's need. I think they can be able to provide the online trainings. So yeah, it was well crafted, and it was like straightforward. It was like anyone was able to follow what was happening. So I think if there's need for such kind of training, I think you can always reach out to GPF. I think they can be of help.
Okay. Thank you for that. And if there are any other thoughts and comments on this issue? Yes, Reiko.
Thank you. It's just something that I noticed under this agenda that is under the discussion, and I don't see the word conservation, but I'm sure it's in everybody's mind, but it's at the back of maybe everybody's head. But I think it's really important, we don't want to just produce biodiversity informaticians for bioinformatics sake. So I think there has to be some explicit connection that while we're doing informatics, So there has to be like an explicit statement that by doing this type of work, it will lead to better protection of the species or better increasing the population size, or something like that. Just a comment.
Okay, yeah, no, that's very true. That the information is needed for the conservation, and yeah, you can. We like to always say how you cannot conserve what you don't know, so that information is needed. That's true.
But it seems to me that I worked in many African countries, and whenever I see students doing some so-called quote-unquote conservation work, but it just ends up as just a tool to obtain a degree, and it often does not lead to real on-the-ground conservation. So I guess I'm critiquing, what's happening in real life, and it's not easy. It's not easy to connect your academic life with real on-the-ground conservation, practice. But I hope that if you're creating this kind of informatics informal group, I think making this, that we are doing this for conservation sake and not just to obtain a degree, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I think one thing that we've done with the program at our university, I'll speak more of that because I think Jean from Benin hasn't been able to join us, but it's what we've done with ours is that also the students that come on the program, they must identify the practitioner or an organization that is working in the field that is actually in need of a solution that requires biodiversity information. So we've got a sort of a set cut to say 60% of our projects must be responding to something that either a conservation NGO or a government department that works in fisheries or forestry, or whichever biodiversity area have requested. So we already sort of outsourced and said, what are the issues, and we'll be presenting this to the students. So they select and they work on a project that actually responds to something. So this was also one way to try and avoid that this, we only do the academic part, like you said, that it's just for the academic and then we are done with it. But we try and ensure, but obviously there's still some that we just do for academic, but those are some of the ways, and it will be interesting to also hear if there are other ideas in terms of how do we make sure these students that we bring in and build their capacity actually are answering to problems or issues that are on the ground and not just for science sake.
Thank you for your comment. Yeah, that's good to know.
If there are any other thoughts, ideas would like to know. Okay. In terms of the curriculum, I don't know how many that are attending have seen the curriculum, like that GBIF offers online for free. Like, have anybody here been able to access this?
Please, could you repeat the question? If we had what?
If you have seen the material that GBIF provides in terms of teaching on biodiversity, informating on sharing data, and those kind of topics. So GBIF has a course online. So So I wondered if anybody has had the opportunity to go through that, if they know about it.
Sorry, at least I haven't, but I should have had maybe, because I have my friend working with GBIF daily basis. But yeah, sorry.
Okay. All right. I'll try and put the link in the chat.
Yeah, I would be happy to do it. Yeah.
Because I mean, I was going to ask if anybody had that. We've adapted a lot of that material for one of the modules for the programs we are introducing, and it would have been good to hear people's feedback on that material and how they think it's if it is like Greg I think was saying, does it have that strong conservation message also in there, or have we gotten carried away in the informatics and technology part of it in there? So I'll try and share the link, so if people have time, they can also have a look at it and see the kind of materials that they have. The downside of it has been most of the times then we are using, because most of the examples might not be real examples of real issues that are in the region. So maybe sometimes they're just arbitrarily things, and that's why I felt we could adjust and make them a little bit localized, some of those examples, so people can relate to the species or to the issues that are being discussed in the exercises that are provided in that course.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the same, that okay, so I am a student actually of the same program, the Biodiversity Informatics. So far, so far, the way I've seen the program is interesting. As Tonge said, that we the examples, so like for example, like the field works. So like each course has got its field work that you have to do, and so we are focusing like in the local context on how like each one of us would go to the field and feel how the things are going like literally on the ground. So there are other students that don't have the conservation background or biodiversity background, but because of what they see, they're able to appreciate whether we're talking about degradation, we're talking about conservation efforts, or those real life challenges that are on the ground, the things that we need to address. So yeah, I see that the program was well thought through, and I hope it's going to impact people's thinking and approach to the conservation issues.
Okay, thank you for the feedback there. Blessings. He's one of the pioneer students on this particular program at the Malawi University of Science and Technology. I think I'm just trying to look at the training, but maybe if I could explore.
I have something. I
Yes.
have a comment. So I don't know about Malawi, but one of the things that I noticed about GBIF is that sometimes, I mean, GBIF is basically the database that has been amassed by citizen scientists. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
So citizen scientists are not trained in taxonomy. And that is a tremendous taxonomic confusion. So in my case, for example, I study primates, and throughout West Africa, from Cameroon through Ghana area, that there are very similarly related species. Like there's a Mona monkey, there's Campbell's monkey, there's Rose monkey, but because citizen scientists are not trained in taxonomy and they are not up to date, they are not looking up IUCN red list, they would say, all right, this is the Mona monkey that he or she saw. So I think it's extremely important for students to know about this, that there are many errors. And manually, you need to be able to filter out bad data. So I don't know if in your university, do they teach you about taxonomy and how to just, be keen about the kind of red flags that you should really pay attention to when you are using GBIF, for example?
I'll leave that to Blessings. Are you?
All right. So, based on the program, hopefully, possibly we're not there yet. Since we just started this September, we're still doing the basic courses. So, but despite that, we've been into the field collecting species data. So we were accompanied by, so because we were looking at plants, we were accompanied by a botanist. So he was the one who was helping us identify the plants and making sure that what we are collecting or what we're looking at is the right species. And also, even on GBIF, I know, like you can really confuse if you really don't know about it. But like in the project, in the ABC project, we've been working with the taxonomists, and they've been checking our data. They've been doing data quality checks, and I suppose it was enough for the project, but hopefully the opportunity for someone to confuse is there, especially when someone wants to take shortcuts. They can really be confused since some may be similar, or especially on the names that keep on changing, there can be a lot of confusion. But I think when we involve the taxonomists, whether the botany or the taxonomists in fauna and flora and all this. So I think if we involve the right people, the right personnel, we should be able to have the quality data that we're looking at, and then we can publish it on GBIF. I also know that GBIF does also the data checks, but I think there's always the confusion if you're taking shortcuts, especially. I also think that's what they can say.
Yeah, and I mean, from the developing side of the course, we definitely have a very strong module coming on data cleaning, realizing that a lot of times, like on those cloud sources, material is especially those from citizen scientists sources, they can have taxonomic errors. But as part of data mobilization also is what we're trying is to get the herbariums and the museums to be the ones that are also publishing, that we should not be, for data coming from the region, should not be solely reliant on things like iNaturalist that people are using, or those citizen science platforms, but that our institutions with the taxonomists, so the herbariums and our museums, can also start compiling the information and the collections that they have and be able to publish them out there. So yeah, well, hopefully those kind of efforts will also help make sure the data that is available on these platforms is reliable data.
Yeah, maybe just to comment, to add on what the question was all about in terms of us teaching the students, biosystematics. I think this is very crucial. I know we flagged out this earlier on when we were doing the needs assessment across the country. But I think moving forward, when we'll be doing the review, this is something that we have to take on board as a standalone module, course on biosystematics, where the students can actually get to know, the identification, classification of the species, genus, and stuff like that. I think it's very crucial, other than just learning it and passing. That will help us do away with the issues of, the citizens doing the science and leaving out the most important things, because now it gives us a lot of work when it comes to data cleaning, afterwards. So if we can actually do the basics, we'll move away from too much workload at the end. So this is a good point. This is a valid point, especially for this program. Not only Malawi but across the continent, whoever is trying to introduce or learning this nice program.
Thank you, Dr. Venem, for that. So maybe in the last few minutes of the discussion, just to explore potential for networking, I've seen the message in the chat from Anna there, but I don't know if there are others, or maybe you might want to elaborate a little bit more on that. But yeah, we're hoping that this discussion, we can also see if there are opportunities for maybe if you're going to do some work in the region and would be willing, to then share the data that is collected in either national. So we know there's GBIF, and some countries may not want to put data on GBIF. They have national central points. Like for Malawi, we have a spatial data central point that that you can publish on. But yeah, maybe if we can look at that last point here, some of the people discussed already, any collaboration networks that are possible in this field.
Yeah, I haven't started the project yet, but my intention, if the project does go forward, would be to have all the data be open access. And part of me being here is just to learn about what are the structures and how are people sharing data, because I have the intention to have it open access, but how that would actually work, I'm not really sure. But it's been helpful to learn about what you all are doing right now, and give me at least a little bit of information on how to move forward.
Okay. Yeah, no, thanks. So yeah, our colleague Jean Gango, who works in Benin, might have contacts in Senegal, but Emmanuel, who was just speaking now, is also into river ecology things. So I don't know if Emmanuel might also have contacts, or maybe might know some people in Senegal. So for whenever you are, if you are gonna start the project, I'm sure I'll be able to contact. So maybe also just to add, in terms of for Malawi, we have set up a system with our National Commission for Science, where we can publish directly to GBIF any data we mobilize in the country. But for those countries that don't have that, the South African National Biodiversity Institute has been providing the service. So for example, if you collect the information, you want to make it available and open access, but the country doesn't have any portal, national portal, or a means of connecting to GBIF. Apologies for my dogs. But you'd like it to be, then you can go through the institutions like SANBI. Also at MAST, we are able to provide that service, but then the data is still published as by that country, just going through a different IPT. Okay, thank you. Any other thoughts in terms of collaborations and networking? I also didn't talk much on the technology part. I don't know if anyone who's joining us today is more on the technology side of sharing this information.
What kind of technology are you thinking about?
Also, the databases, I think there's a number of, I think, platforms that people are using in countries or going on. So whether it's for managing biodiversity data, so whether it's BRAMS, Specify, or all these new technologies, some people have to make the information available. Either sometimes it's just at the institution level or at the national level, or if it's international, then we go in the GBIF's range. But yeah, we also wanted to just discuss a bit if there are those technologies that are available, especially those that are open access that countries can use. Because I know things like BRAMS are, you have to subscribe, and sometimes our universities and research institutions cannot afford those subscriptions.
I don't know. Maybe could I share a screen? I can show you a project that is ongoing in Europe, which could be interesting for you to
Okay.
maybe
I think
get ideas from, or
so
I just
Blessings, I
open it.
think, can make you co-host.
Yeah. Just if you stop share, I can share. So this is a new project, a relatively new project. It's called NET Wild, and it's a European network of wildlife professionals and capable of providing reliable data on species distribution and abundance of selected host species and their pathogens. And it's specifically it's very important to harmonize data on mammals, and specifically this is supported by the European Food Safety Agency, and it's related also to the wild boar, because the wild boar is a host of many different pathogens, many different viruses and bacteria and so on, parasites that some of them can also spread to humans. So this is I can put this in the chat, the NET Wild. So this is a relatively new project that that maybe you can get ideas from them for your project.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I hadn't heard of that one yet. So Haman, I think that's an interesting link there to something that could be health related. So yeah, like the program that we've developed at Advanced, we are focusing on the biodiversity data, not just for conservation, but also that biodiversity data that is useful for issues of health and also in agriculture. So so I think
this is just what this product is about, also about health and with the wild boar, the especially interaction between the domestic pig, and because a lot of diseases that wild boar can spread to domestic pigs. And I think the wild boar native distribution is, in Eurasia, so Europe and Asia, but it's been introduced to several countries around the world and also in Africa. But I'm not sure which countries, if they are exist in Malawi, for example, but there are some countries that they have been introduced also.
Okay. I don't think we have that species here. No, I haven't seen. But it's interesting the linkages between that they can spread to domestic ones. We do have wild pigs here too, probably different species. And I don't know if anybody has explored if any of their diseases can spread to the other type of the local domesticated pigs that are available. Yeah, it's an interesting area of study.
Yeah, it is.
So we just have a few minutes for the discussion. As you know, it was quite a late time slot that they gave us here, but just to thank everyone for making the time and to share. Just give maybe if people have any last comments. Maybe I'll start with you, Blessings, having been down to present.
Thank you for each one of us for being available for this session. It has been nice and informative, and also the opportunity for us to collaborate, to link up and still share some information. I think that is really very important also, especially the sharing of the biodiversity data, which is always a challenge, especially in the government-owned institutions. They're always like so challenging for you to get data that you need for research or whatsoever. But if we can really collaborate, work together, and make these institutions, help these institutions to be able to publish data and make it available to everyone, I think, it will be a step forward in our conservation efforts. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Lars, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a long last question that I have been wondering for many years, and that I was traveling in South America for some years ago, and I met a guy from South Africa who had been traveling all around Africa and in many countries in South America. And I met him on an island in Peru. And he told me that of all the countries in the world that he had visited, Malawi was the most beautiful one. So do you agree on that?
We definitely agree.
That's right. Please come visit one of these days.
Yes, you must come and visit, please.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I will. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. Ronald, we haven't heard from you. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to say as we close. I think he's not there. Cynthia? Okay, I'll have Emmanuel.
Well, for me, it's been a great talk, discussion. Excited. I was looking forward to the introductions at the beginning about who is in the room. But that's fine. What's important is a discussion. So I think moving forward, it's good to know. So what's next after this? Because I feel like we didn't really tackle some of the questions, especially in terms of collaborations. We want to collaborate and see where we can find some synergies, even our students, research projects, and see where we can have some collaborations on. So are you planning, are we gonna plan for another talk one day as a follow-up and see, because we don't want to have meetings and then just end like that and nothing else comes out of these meetings,
Yeah, no, thank you for that, Emmanuel. I was also thinking the same. And I was just asking maybe that's why I'd asked if people can put their names and contacts in the chat so that beyond this, and I think if opportunities come, we can definitely circulate, also just circulate the minutes of what we've shared today and see how best to take this forward. Particularly, but I think it's good to have had at least a few people that are having possible projects and how we could work together from there. Thanks. So please do put your emails in the chat and your names. Anne, I don't know if you have anything to say in closing.
It's just been interesting to listen to everything, all the information that all of you are sharing. I'm very new to this topic, but very interested in especially what eDNA can tell us about biodiversity. And of course, we need the resources to be able to get the useful information from eDNA. So thanks very much.
Okay, no, thank you very much. And I think I've gone around to everyone. Yes. So yeah, no, thank you very much for that. And yes, I hope we can continue the conversation. This was just to start the conversation, to see what people are doing and where we are and what are the potentials that are there. So I think if you put your emails, I think we'll be able to communicate progress that's going on, but also the program that we have put in place at MAST. Like we said, it's just starting, and we would be welcome to people just having a look at what we are doing and commenting on how we can respond better. If people are looking for students to do projects, they'll be you might want to collaborate with some of our students who are looking for projects to do that actually respond to conservation needs that are there on the ground. So hopefully that we can work further in those areas, and we can definitely add these emails whenever we are sending out emails about the program. So I think from my side, I'll hand back over to Blessings to close. Thanks.
Thank you so much for the contributions to this workshop. It has been nice to meet each one of you, and yeah, looking forward to further collaboration. Please reach out to any one of us if you need any information. Or if you want to come to Malawi, please reach out. We can always link you to good places that you can visit and appreciate how Malawi looks like. Yeah, I think so. This marks the end of today's workshop. Please enjoy your evening. If it's your evening, and unite. I don't know if there's anyone who is in the day, so please enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.